Now we come to the next sutta, 112, Chabbisodhana Sutta, the sixfold purity. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. There he addressed the monks thus, "Monks, Venerable Sir," they replied. The Blessed One said, "Hear, monks, a monk makes a declaration of final knowledge thus. I understand, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being." That monk's words should neither be approved nor disapproved. Without approving or disapproving, a question should be put thus: "Friend, there are four kinds of expression rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha. What four? Telling the seen as it is seen, telling the heard as it is heard, telling the sense as it is sensed, telling the cognized as it is cognized. These, friend, are the four kinds of expression rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these four kinds of expression, so that through not clinging his mind is liberated from the taints?" Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed, who has lived the holy life, done what had to be done, laid down the burden, reached the true goal, destroyed the fetters of being, and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the nature of his answer. Friends, regarding the seen, I abide unattracted, unrepelled, independent, detached, free, dissociated, with a mind rid of barriers. Regarding the heard, regarding the sense, regarding the cognized, I abide unattracted, unrepelled, independent, detached, free, dissociated, with a mind rid of barriers. It is by knowing thus, seeing thus, regarding these four kinds of expression, that through not clinging, my mind is liberated from the taints. Stop here for a moment. So the Buddha is saying that if a monk claims to have attained enlightenment, you should not accept it or reject it. Instead, you should ask him, you should question him concerning these. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these four kinds of expression? So here the answer should be regarding the seen, regarding the heard, regarding the sense, regarding the cognized. He says, I abide unattracted, unrepelled, etc. So you see, this refers to the six senses. The first one is the seen. The last one is the cognized, the thinking. The first one is the seen, the second one is the heard. And then the cognized is mentioned. That means three sense doors are mentioned. And then the other three is inside the sense. So the sense refers to the smell, the tasted, and the touch. The other three senses are not mentioned here. So regarding the six sense doors, if it's an Arahant, he will say he abides unattracted, unrepelled, independent, detached, free, dissociated, with mind rid of barriers. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, a further question should be put thus: Friend, there are these five aggregates affected by clinging, or these five aggregates of attachment, rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha. What five? They are the material form aggregate of attachment, the feeling, perception, volition, consciousness aggregates of attachment. These, friends, are the five aggregates of attachment rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these five aggregates of attachment, so that through not clinging his mind is liberated from the taints? Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed, etc., and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the nature of his answer. Friends, having known material form to be feeble, fading away and comfortless, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, and relinquishing of attraction and clinging regarding material form, of mental standpoints, adherences, and underlying tendencies regarding material form, I have understood that my mind is liberated. Similarly, friends, having known feeling, perception, volition, consciousness, to be feeble, fading away and comfortless, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishment of attraction and clinging regarding these aggregates of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies regarding these aggregates, I have understood that my mind is liberated. It is by knowing thus, seeing thus, regarding these 5 aggregates affected by clinging or of attachment, that through not clinging, my mind is liberated from the taints. Stop here for a moment. So here, if he is an Arahant, he will say regarding the 5 aggregates, that he knows the 5 aggregates to be feeble, fading away, comfortless. In other words, the 5 aggregates are so unstable and they will fade away. One day they are going to die, disappear. So it is comfortless. You can't get much comfort from clinging to the 5 aggregates. So because of that, he has relinquish this attraction and clinging regarding the 5 aggregates. So that's how his mind has become freed, liberated. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, a further question may be put thus. Friend, there are these 6 elements rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows, Arahant Sammasambuddha. What 6? They are the earth element, water element, fire element, air element, space element, and the consciousness element. These, friend, are the 6 elements rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these 6 elements, so that through not clinging, his mind is liberated from the taints? Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed, etc., and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the nature of his answer. Friends, I have treated the earth element as not self, with no self based on the earth element, and with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up, and relinquishing of attraction and clinging based on the earth element, of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies based on the earth element, I have understood that my mind is liberated. Similarly, friends, I have treated the water element, fire element, air element, space element, consciousness element as not self, with no self based on the elements, and with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishing of attraction and clinging based on the elements, of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies based on the elements, I have understood that my mind is liberated. It is by knowing thus, seeing thus, regarding these 6 elements, that through not clinging, my mind is liberated from the taints. Stop here for a moment. So here, regarding the physical world, including the body, the body is also made up of the 4 elements. In fact, the 6 elements here. So the person, if he's an Arahant, he sees that this body or these 6 elements are not self. And so because of that, he has relinquished attraction and clinging based on these elements. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, a further question may be put thus. But friend, there are these 6 internal and external bases rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha. What 6? They are the eye and forms, ear and sounds, nose and odors, tongue and flavors, body and tangibles, mind and mind objects. These, friend, are the 6 internal and external bases rightly proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha. How does the Venerable One know? How does he see regarding these 6 internal and external bases, so that through not clinging, his mind is liberated from the taints? Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed, etc., and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the nature of his answer. Friends, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishing of desire, lust, delight, craving, attraction and clinging, and of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies regarding the I, forms and I consciousness, and things cognizable by the mind through I consciousness, I have understood that my mind is liberated. Similarly, with the destruction, fading away, cessation, giving up and relinquishing of desire, lust, delight, craving, attraction and clinging, and of mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies, regarding the ear sounds and ear consciousness and things cognizable by the mind through ear consciousness. Similarly, regarding the nose odors, nose consciousness and things cognizable through nose consciousness. And similarly, regarding the tongue flavors, tongue consciousness and things cognizable through tongue consciousness. And regarding the body tangibles, body consciousness and things cognizable through body consciousness. And regarding the mind, mind objects, mind consciousness and things cognizable through mind consciousness. I have understood that my mind is liberated. This by knowing thus, seeing thus, regarding these 6 internal and external bases, that through not clinging, my mind is liberated from the taints. Stop it for a moment. So here, if the person is an arahant, he will say concerning the 6 internal and external sense bases, then he has destroyed, given up, relinquished desire, lust, delight, craving, attraction and clinging, and even mental standpoints, adherences and underlying tendencies concerning the 6 internal sense bases, the 6 external sense bases, and the 6 consciousnesses, etc. He has totally given up any desire and lust towards these sense bases and objects. That's how he is liberated. Saying good, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, a further question may be put thus. But friend, how does the Venerable One know? How does he see? So that in regard to this body with its consciousness and all external signs, I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit have been eradicated in him. Monks, when a monk is one with taints destroyed, etc., and is completely liberated through final knowledge, this is the nature of his answer. Friends, formerly when I lived the home life, I was ignorant. Then the Tathagata or his disciple taught me the Dhamma. On hearing the Dhamma, I acquired faith in the Tathagata. Possessing that faith, I considered thus: household life is crowded and dusty. Life gone forth is wide open. It is not easy while living in a home to lead the holy life, utterly perfect and pure as a polished shell. Suppose I shave off my hair and beard, put on the yellow robe and go forth from the home life into homelessness. So what follows is a description of this person going forth and training in charana, conduct of a monk. What we have read before in Sutta 51. So he abandons the 5 hindrances and then attains the 4 jhanas, and after that he directs his mind to the higher knowledges culminating in destruction of the asavas. When I knew and saw thus, my mind was liberated from the taint of sensual desire, from the taint of being, and from the taint of ignorance. When it was liberated, there came the knowledge it is liberated. I directly knew birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. It is by knowing thus, seeing thus, friends, that in regard to this body with its consciousness and all external signs, I-making, mind-making, and the underlying tendency to conceit have been eradicated in me. Saying good monks, one may delight and rejoice in that monk's words. Having done so, one should say to him, it is a gain for us, friend, it is a great gain for us, friend, that we see such a companion in the holy life as the Venerable One. That is what the Blessed One said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So, this last one, the Buddha said, if that person is an arahant, then he will describe how he led the holy life out of faith in the Dhamma and practice all that was recommended by the Buddha under this charana, and then finally having attained the 4 jhanas and the higher knowledges, he attained liberation. Without the 4 jhanas, it is impossible to attain liberation. So you see from here, it's not so easy. Sometimes some people, they practice for a while and they think they are already an arahant. 2 years ago, in Malaysia, we had one monk who was telling people that he finished his work. But evidently he had not attained the 4 jhanas, so how could he have finished his work? So it's not so easy. So you can see from here, he's really an arahant. He has already relinquished all these different things. He's no more attracted by sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and also doesn't cling to the five aggregates. He knows, etc. If a person has actually become an arahant, then because the final state, parinibbana, is a state of cessation of perception and feeling. So if a person has attained arahanthood, then I guess he's no more interested in the world. He'll be always abiding in meditation, just like the arahants during the Buddha's time. Okay, we have time for another sutta, 113, Sappurisa Sutta, the true man. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. There he addressed the monks thus, "Monks, noble sir," they replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, I shall teach you the character of a true man and the character of an untrue man. Listen and attend closely to what I shall say." "Yes, noble sir," the monks replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, what is the character of an untrue man? Here an untrue man who has gone forth from an aristocratic family considers thus, I have gone forth from an aristocratic family, or royal or noble family. But these other monks have not gone forth from an aristocratic family. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his aristocratic family. This is the character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, it is not because of one's aristocratic family that states of greed, hatred and delusion are destroyed. Even though someone may not have gone forth from an aristocratic family, yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way, and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that, he should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his aristocratic family. This is the character of a true man. Moreover, an untrue man who has gone forth from a great family or from a wealthy family or from an influential family considers thus, have gone forth from a great family or wealthy family or influential family. But these other monks have not gone forth from such families. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his family. This too is the character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, it is not because of one's family that states of greed, hatred and delusion are destroyed. Even though someone may not have gone forth from an influential family, etc. Yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that, he should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his family. This too is the character of a true man. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, an untrue man who does not conduct himself according to Dhamma, if he comes from a good family background, he'll be very proud of himself, very haughty, very arrogant. So when we know the Dhamma, we don't think of our background. A lot of people always thinking about your background. You don't look at your faults. Your faults are more important to look than your wealth or your family background and all that. Moreover, an untrue man who is well known and famous considers thus, I am well known and famous, but these other monks are unknown and of no account. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his renown. This too is the character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus, it is not because of one's renown that states of greed, hatred and delusion are destroyed. Even though someone may not be well known and famous, yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way, and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that, he should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his renown. This too is the character of a true man. I'll stop here for a moment. So sometimes certain monks, you after a few years becomes famous. In the Samyutta Nikaya, there's one chapter on Labha Sakara, where the Buddha says that gains and fame are a great obstacle to the holy life, especially fame. If a monk becomes famous, a lot of dangers come together with it. So the Buddha says it's good not to be famous, not to have some name. Keep a low profile, otherwise it's an obstacle to the holy life. And also the Buddha says once a person becomes famous, his character changes usually. Just like some people, where lay people when they become wealthy, their head swells. So similarly with monks, when they become famous. Moreover, an untrue man who gains robes, arms, food, resting places and requisites of medicine considers thus: I gain robes, arms, food, resting places and requisites of medicine. But these other monks do not gain these things. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of gain. This too is the character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus: it is not because of gain that states of greed, hatred and delusion are destroyed. Even though someone has no gain, yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that. He should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of gain. This too is the character of a true man. Moreover, an untrue man who is learned or who is an expert in the Vinaya, or who is a preacher of the Dhamma, or who is a forest dweller, or who is a refuse rag wearer, or an alms food eater, or a tree root dweller, or a charnel ground or cemetery dweller, an open air dweller, or a continual sitter, or an any bed user, or a one session eater considers thus: I am such and such, but these other monks are not such and such. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his being such and such. This too is a character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus: it is not because of being a one session eater, etc., that states of greed, hatred, or delusion are destroyed. Even though someone may not be such and such person who practices such and such, yet if he has entered upon the way that accords with the Dhamma, entered upon the proper way and conducts himself according to the Dhamma, he should be honored for that. He should be praised for that. So putting the practice of the way first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his being such and such. This too is a character of a true man. Stop here for a moment. So here, sometimes certain monks, they practice certain things, ascetic practices, and they become arrogant because they think they are a forest monk, or they are a ascetic monk, or they only beg for their food and all that. But if he knows the Dhamma, then he knows what is important is to get rid of greed, hatred and delusion, not to have an inflated head. Moreover, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, an untrue man enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied and sustained thought. With delight and pleasure born of seclusion, he considers thus: I have gained the attainment of the first jhana, but these other monks have not gained the attainment of the first jhana. So he lauds himself and disparages others because of his attainment. This too is a character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus: non-identification, even with the attainment of the first jhana, has been declared by the Blessed One. For in whatever way they conceive, the fact is ever other than that. So putting non-identification first, he neither lauds himself nor disparages others because of his attainment of the first jhana. This too is a character of a true man. Moreover, with the stilling of applied and sustained thought, an untrue man enters upon and abides in the second jhana, or the third jhana, or the fourth jhana, or the base of infinite space, the base of infinite consciousness, or the base of nothing, there is of nothingness, and the base of neither perception nor non-perception. And because of that, he lauds himself and disparages others because of his attainment. This too is a character of an untrue man. But a true man considers thus: non-identification, even with the attainment of the various jhanas, has been declared by the Blessed One. For in whatever way they conceive, the fact is ever other than that. So putting non-identification first, he neither lost himself nor disparages others because of his attainment of the various jhanas. This too is the character of a true man. So the Buddha says, true man who understands the Dhamma, and he is not conceited because of his attainment of the jhanas or the high knowledge or whatever, because he knows that there is no self, no self. Ultimately, so it's very important to be guided by the Dhamma. If you are not guided by the Buddha's Dhamma, sometimes a person can attain quite high states and then fall down from there, just like Devadatta. Devadatta attained high states and his ego was a stumbling block. So this ego is very important. But you only realize that when you are quite familiar with the Buddha's Dhamma. In fact, somebody like Mara was probably a cultivator in a previous life. Somebody like Mara probably attained some jhanas. But because of his ego, ended up being Mara. So if you are not careful, we can also end up being in his gang. Moreover, by completely surmounting the base of neither perception nor non-perception, a true man enters upon and abides in the cessation of perception and feeling, and his stains are destroyed by his seeing with wisdom. This monk does not conceive anything, he does not conceive in regard to anything, he does not conceive in any way. That is what the Blessed One said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. This last part, is he a real Arahant? He does not conceive anything, does not conceive in regard to anything, does not conceive in any way. He has no opinions whatsoever in that sense. He does not think at all. Does not use his mind because there is no more self. So the higher we progress on the spiritual path, the less views we have, the less opinions we have, the less conceited we become. The more childish, the more childlike we become. Just like in the Bible, Jesus liked to play with some children, and some older people tried to chase away the children, and Jesus said, don't chase them away. And Jesus said, you all have to be like children. Unless you become like children, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. In other words, you have to be innocent, like children. A lot of people, as we grow older, we become more cunning. Okay, okay, I think we can stop here for tonight. Nothing to discuss. And yet what? Yes, but when a person attains the jhanas, he has got rid of the 5 hindrances. But the 5 hindrances is not about the ego. He has got rid of sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry and doubt. But even though he has got rid of them, the roots have not been eradicated. So when the condition is right, sometimes, for example, in the suttas, it is mentioned that certain rishis, certain ascetics, and they got very angry with certain villages, they use their psychic power and burn the whole village. So this ill will, even though they have eliminated ill will, but because the root has not been eliminated, if their ego is such that they become angry, then this ill will can rise up suddenly. Yes, this when a person attains the jhanas, they are states of one-pointedness of mind. So you can only achieve one-pointedness of mind if you are fairly equanimous. But it's only in the fourth jhana that you have perfect purity of equanimity. That's why I always say the fourth jhana is not just purity, it is utter purity, parisuddhi, perfect purity of mindfulness and equanimity. So in the fourth jhana, the equanimity is perfect. But even in the first jhana, there is already some equanimity. Otherwise, you cannot attain that first jhana. You mean whether a Sotapan does have Jnana Bhuta? Yes. If a person has become a Sotapanna, it means that he has seen the Dhamma as it really is, but not the ultimate Dhamma, because he has seen the basic Dhamma, as seen in permanence, basically. So this right view of a Sotapanna is not as deep, as not as profound as the right view of a Sakadagamin, which is not as profound as the right view of Anagamin, which is not as perfect as the right view of an Arahant. So there are different levels. So you can say that a Sotapanna does possess knowing and seeing, but not as well as Arahant.
Talking about ego, and what you think say, am I correct in understanding that only in Arahant can let go of all ego? Because otherwise, from what you're saying earlier, even though those who have attained jhana, they're able to develop psychic powers, some of them still retain ego.
Yes, you must be careful, States, jhana states are not Aryan states. Aryan states are the first path, first fruit, second path, second fruit, third path, third fruit, and fourth path, fourth fruit. The 8 Aryans. There's a great difference between jhana states and these Aryan states. These Aryan stages, once a person becomes an Arya, that means he has understood the Dhamma. So only by understanding the Dhamma that our ego reduces. Whereas meditative states like these jhanas, they are states of great tranquility, great peace, but the ego is there. So unless it is combined with knowledge of the Dhamma, then it's dangerous. It's just like a person has a sharp knife. The higher states of jhana that he achieves is like he's carrying a sharper knife. So with a sharp knife in your hand, if you don't know the Dhamma, you can create a lot of havoc. You can be a very dangerous man. But if you know the Dhamma well, then even with a sharp knife in your hand, you are still harmless. Right? So that's why especially like psychic power, if you don't have a good foundation in the Dhamma, it's dangerous to cultivate psychic power. Because some people, when they attain certain achievements, then the ego becomes very big. Then they think of harming others. Okay, so you can end here. The experience of samadhi, yeah. What's the author's name? Forgot.